Hi, I'm FOTV93, and welcome to Rockman Revamp. Well, welcome back to Rockman Revamp, where I tackle the classic games I've tackled before, but doing them all entirely Buster only. And today, we're going to be tackling on the first Mega Man game that went on the Game Boy, Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. And for this sake, I wanted to at least show this off. For the sake of the Game Boy games, all 5 of them, here's the settings I'll be going with. Having them on the Game Boy Color, because since these games were on the Game Boy, and since the Game Boy Color came out, they allowed these games to actually have some sense of color. So I wanted to at least give it like the red carpet feel. The Game Boy Color, then reproduce the classic feel, and just at least do that. And yes, going right back to that, and let's begin the game. With the plot of the story, it's just Dr. Wily just did the same exact thing as he did in Mega Man 1, where he just reprogrammed some of the bots that were from Dr. Light, and just made them evil again. Go stop them, go stop Wily again. Yeah, just go do that again. Give me a sec. Yeah, I just had to at least check on something with my phone. But yes, the main plot of Wily's Revenge is just Wily just did this whole thing again. And yeah, essentially, this is the first game that actually came on the Game Boy. At the time, with the Game Boy, essentially everything and anything just got itself a good release on the Game Boy. Because the Game Boy was the new hot thing, and anything that did well on the Game Boy got a good chance for it to actually shine. Mario got a chance to shine, it was the... Mario got a chance, Tetris was the first game to be done, and yeah, Mario, like there was Mario, there was Tetris, Kirby got his start on the Game Boy as well, then there's also Mega Man as well, as he's gotten 5 games on the Game Boy. But we're doing this in chronological release order time, so we're not really be doing the Game Boy games all at one go. No. Because for Wily's Revenge, it's the only Mega Man game in the entire franchise in North America where it actually got in a subtitle. Because every other game does not have a subtitle. In Japan, though, that's entirely different, because starting with Mega Man 2, The Mystery of Dr. Wily, which is actually the subtitle for that in Japan, starting with Mega Man 2 and onwards, essentially, all classic entry games actually have subtitles. For some reason, they don't have that there in North America for some reason. Give me just a sec, just gotta fix something up, and I'll be right back. Yeah, there we go. And welcome aboard our Song 3166 to the Mega Man 1 game stream, essentially. And since this is a Mega Man game and we're doing this with Rockman Revamp and also with this lovely wheel, I plan to at least do this with every Mega Man classic and any Mega Man X game that I'll be doing. As with the wheel for Mega Man X, it'll be starting to be used within Mega Man X4, since I've already done half the Mavericks so far, so it doesn't really make much sense to be using the wheel. But, without further ado, let's do this Wheel of Chaos! Okay, Rockman is our first victim. And so because of that, gotta move out the wheel, move that noise out of the way. Thank you. And without further ado, Rockman. With the wheel, essentially, if, say for instance, if the wheel goes back to a Robot Master or a boss I've already dealt with and beaten, well, I will spin the wheel again. I'll spin the wheel again up until I reach something that I haven't done before. This is just so that way the actual probability actually stays random and probable instead of relying on my own self for doing the whole thing. Ow. With the Rockman stage, and just like every other Robot Master's stage, it'll just be a Game Boy bite-sized version of what you already experienced in the NES version. Whew, okay. And right off the bat, you'll be having to deal with these blocks. These blocks are just the same Yoku blocks, but they're just smaller blocks, essentially. They're just smaller, basically. But they're under the same thing. They go underneath a pattern, and sometimes when it comes to the next block that can come up, and sometimes it'll just be a case of the block appearing right on top of the block that you're on. So you do need to at least get good with the pattern. With pattern recognition, essentially. Whoop! Oh wait. Okay. Is this a port of the NES Mega Man game? No, it isn't actually. I mean, you could say it's a port of the Mega Man 1, but no. Because the simple fact with each of these games, it really isn't a port. It just takes bits of it and just makes it into its own thing, particularly. But at the end of the day, the plot is still the same. Just go beat Wily, stop him from trying to take over the world. The reason why Mega Man is on the Game Boy is because Mega Man was a successful franchise, with the release of Mega Man 1 and then with Mega Man 2 being such a highly selling game. It pretty much just gave it away for it to be released on the Game Boy. And with the Game Boy being the new hot thing at the time, well, it was kind of obvious for Mega Man to get his time to shine in the sun. Like with, say, Super Mario Land 1 and 2, which I've actually streamed on the channel maybe like almost a year ago on the channel. And I made sure to stream both of those games within one stream, which was pretty nice, and that was a fun thing for me to do. But back on topic with that, with Mario Land 1 and 2, they're not really ports, they're their own game. Just like with the Mega Man Game Boy games. They're their own thing, but they do take, you know, obvious cues and steps from basic gameplay from their console counterparts. So with the Rockman, it's just more of a Game Boy bite-sized version of what you'd see within the regular Mega Man NES version. Music and all, essentially. But it's kind of odd, actually. Instead of the standard 8 that the NES games would be having to do... Ow! Oh, come on here. Oh, well, shoot. instead of the standard 8 Robot Masters that are likely to be the standard rule, you're going to be having 4 Robot Masters to deal with at a time. It's still going to be 8 Robot Masters, but at the start, you have to deal with 4 of them. And in this case, our 4 are Cutman, Fireman, Iceman, and Elecman. No sign of Bomb or Gutsman, so there is that at the very least. I mean, no offense to Gutsman, but I don't think you'd be finding a lot of, you know, ways to use the super arm. I mean, Bomb Man, it's kind of a shame because the Hyper Bomb is kind of a nice weapon, kind of. But it does take time for it to detonate and to blow up. But with the 4 that were chosen, they're a pretty good selection. It gives like a good blend of challenge and easiness when you're used to them, essentially. With this stage, aside from the disappearing blocks that come up in and out, you'd have to at least deal with the fans that blow you in within one direction or another, basically. So besides the standard traps and gimmicks that you'd see within Rockman stage, like the disappearing blocks and the beams of electricity or thunder that come out of the walls or to the sides from time to time, there's also the fans that blow, essentially. And it serves as a good trap and a good way to make it more unique and sets it apart from, say, the original OG NES inspiration. As the fans will pretty much just blow you either towards or far away from it, basically. Whoa! Ah! Oh, Christopher Jones, 7023. What's up? How's it going with you, buddy? Welcome aboard to the chat. As with this game, I do want to at least... Ow! Okay, that does actually get a little annoying. See, just like that with the OG Rockman stage, beams of electricity that come out the wall, you just have to time the button presses to go up the ladder, essentially. Because even if the slightest pixel is off, you go down. Then you'd have to go right back up to climb yourself right back up, and then to deal with the exact same thing, just like that. You'd really have to wait for it to really go over, to really finish, for you to get a move on. Ow. And it still is the same enemy, basically. Ow! Okay, that does not help. Maybe there's a way that thing can leap up a little higher for me. Yeah. Oh, Mega Man is pink because the simple fact on the Game Boy Color... Well, this is a Game Boy game. If this was an actual Game Boy game, you'd be seeing him in either gray or puke green. Oh wait, I could actually... Give me a second to make a suspend point. To show you what I mean by this. Go to Game Selection... Settings... Okay, this is OG Game Boy. Yeah, this is what Mega Man would look like on the OG Game Boy. Puke green. People just call it puke green because it just looks like the color of cartoonish puke. Really? You played the Game Boy? Huh, well, be damned, okay. And this is the Game Boy Pocket. The Game Boy Pocket was just a slimmer version of the OG Game Boy where it actually just looked a little better, but still had the same old no color thing. And this is what it would look like on the Game Boy Pocket. So that is why Mega Man looks pink, basically, within the Game Boy Pocket, within the Game Boy Color. It's because the simple fact, well, with the Game Boy Color, it does give color, but not a lot of color. So it does make it pop out. Ow. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? That's a fair point. I do remember that you are actually older than I am, so that does actually make a good fair bit of sense. With these fans, you can't really blast them down, so you'd have to at least deal with them from the get-go. There we go. As with fighting a Rockman, his patterns are still going to be the same. He runs around, jumps from time to time, then occasionally he just shoots his elect beam at you. Either rinse repeat and then shoot him with either the buster or his weakness. Although if anyone does want me to change the graphics from the Game Boy Color to, say, the Game Boy Pocket or the OG Game Boy, let me know. I'm more than happy to at least spice things up a bit. And as with the whole pixely looking thing that you may be seeing on the screen, yeah, I wanted to at least give it the red carpet treatment for this whole thing, and to make it look like it really popped out from the Game Boy Color, or the Game Boy OG, or the Game Boy Pocket. With the OG Game Boy, it's the OG big boy brick. Like, you better at least have some good jeans, good pockets, or some good jeans, or maybe just a purse just to fit that thing in. With the Game Boy Pocket, you could at least fit it in like a standard pocket, or maybe like a women's jeans pocket or something, because the Game Boy Pocket was just made to be a slimmer Game Boy. Like, it's just made to be a slimmer Game Boy, and if I'm not mistaken, actually came in colors. Like red, blue, yellow, all that stuff. And even though it came in colors for the Game Boy Pocket and the regular Game Boy, well, for the Game Boy Pocket in particular, for coming in colors, it still played in black and white, so no color-based gameplay up until the Game Boy Color, basically. That was up until the Game Boy Light, which came in Japan, and was only in Japan. Yeah, trying to make that make sense. But yeah, at the time with the Game Boy, it was competing with the Game Gear. And I know I have actually said this before within my Game Boy versus Game Gear video that I've also made like almost a year ago when I was playing Mario Land 1, basically, and went under spiel about it. But here's like the Spark Notes, the TLDR version of it. The Game Gear actually had objective benefits over the regular-looking Game Boy and the Game Boy Pocket. For one, full-on actual color. Like, no selective coloring. Like, if you were to play Mega Man on the Game Gear, he'd look the exact same colors as he would within the NES. But, like, it did actually have that, and also a backlight. To the Zoomers or whatever, not watching the whole thing and not commenting or whatever, a backlight is when you could actually play a console, like a portable console, and it actually plays in the dark. You could actually see it with the lights turned off, and you don't really have to put a shining light or a lamp on top of it for you to actually see it. So that's actually like two big pros that the Game Gear had over, say, the Game Boy family line of consoles, basically. Okay, there we go. But the thing is, even though the Game Gear did have those objective benefits and superiority points, There's also one big thing that sets the Game Gear apart from the Game Boy, where the Game Boy just trounces and curb stomps the Game Gear in every possible way. With two bigger points. Well, three actually. One is the size, because the Game Boy is more vertical while the Game Gear is more horizontal. And the Game Gear was also a lot fatter too. That and also games. Sure, you could at least say the Game Boy, like any other console, had its fair share of shovelware and slop, but the Game Boy also had its fair share of bangers. With the Game Gear, I could at least vouch for, say, well, anyone could vouch for Sonic Triple Trouble, maybe, I could at least vouch for Sonic Triple Trouble and maybe Sonic Labyrinth, because it's a good puzzle game. And that is it. Like Sonic Triple Trouble, maybe a couple other games, but that is basically about it. With the Game Boy, it had the start of the Kirby franchise, which I love to death. It had 5 Mega Man games, which we'll be playing soon. Mario Land 1, which was a launch title. Mario Land 2, which was a sequel, which is a beloved game, and one of the best on the Game Boy. There is also, you know, a little game called Pokemon, which got its start on the Game Boy, which sold like goddamn gangbusters. And there is also this little tiny game called Tetris, which I believe was also a launch game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong with that. Give me a quick second for me to verify with my research. Let's see here. Was Tetris a launch game? Yes, it actually was a major launch title game. So, the combined 1-2 heavy punch of Super Mario Land and Tetris on the Game Boy sold like goddamn hotcakes. So, basically a little game called Tetris, you know, that little game where you could actually play it on your phone, or that one game where literally anyone could be fine with playing because it's a nice little cozy puzzle game. Yeah, that game sold like goddamn gangbusters and led to a whole bunch of spin-offs like Hat's Triss and Snake's Triss. Flat out, Snake's Triss was flat out, yeah, just Tetris with hats, and Snake's Triss has to do with snakes. So, with the one, yeah, with Pokemon Gen 1, and also fun fact, Pokemon Gen 2 can technically be played on the Game Boy as well. It's just only Pokemon Gold and Silver, but Crystal, on the other hand, is Game Boy Color exclusive, making it pop out with a whole bunch of colors and what have you. And yeah, pinball was there, but I mean, any console can play pinball, so it's not really that. Not unique. But yeah, the Game Boy had those heavy hitters, the start of Pokemon, which is its own heavy hitter, and then it also had the crazy-ass nerve of just putting in Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, and Killer Instinct. I'm not kidding! The Mad Lads back then were really desperate to try and get a piece of that hot, sweet Game Boy pie. So they flat out were crazy enough to put 3 heavy-hitter fighting game franchises, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat especially, on the Game Boy. I mean, results may vary, they may not be the greatest game to play, but damn it, you gotta give them props for trying and releasing it on the goddamn Game Boy to begin with. So it's because of that, with the bigger launch of games, it basically just trounced and curb stomped the Game Gear. Even though the Game Gear was technologically ahead by over a decade or so, because with the introduction of full-on color and backlight screen, didn't actually come for the Nintendo handhelds until the Game Boy Advance SP within the 2000s, which was where I basically had my second gaming console. Well, third essentially. Well, second gaming console, because I had my first, which was the Game Boy Advance, I still have that, and the GameCube, and then from there, you know, GBA ESP. I'm telling you. I am flat out telling you. Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct on the Game Boy. I wish I was lying. I wish I was fucking lying. Let's see, Street Fighter Game Boy. Yep, they actually had a port of Street Fighter 2. Like, standard vanilla Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy. And then there's Mortal Kombat Game Boy. Yeah. Yeah, just standard Mortal Kombat. Oh. Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on the Game Boy. So, yeah. Let's see here. Mortal Kombat games. Yeah. Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy. And, yeah, pretty much. I'm not kidding. Anyone talks about the Tetris mine. Yeah, Tetris is a household classic for a reason. Yeah, it really is. Even though performance is not that great for Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2, you have to give them props for being that dedicated to at least get a piece of that hot, sweet Game Boy pie, because playing games on the go was literally the first innovative thing. Well, before the Game Gear came, yeah. But yes. Anyway, yapping aside, let's spin that wheel. And it's Fireman, who's up next. So because of the Game Boy selling like hotcakes, and with the multiple colors of Game Boys, even though the graphics are still going to be the same, but, I mean, you actually have it in your own favorite color. Like, they have red ones, yellow ones, clear ones, blue ones, all that fun stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually had, like, special Game Boy, commemorative Game Boys as well. Like, I think there may have been a Pokemon one, I'm pretty sure about that. And then some other commemorative Game Boys as well. Yeah, the Game Boy really sold like hotcakes. Then with the Game Boy Color, lather, rinse, repeat with that whole success story. Oh shoot! Nice! Oh, very, very nice. Hit me again. Since this is not OG Mega Man 1 and released after Mega Man 1, I could actually take damage and not die on these not die on the lava, so that's actually good for me. I can actually get me a move on and I have to resort to reverse. I think I had a gray and I had a clear green one, yeah. I'll hold on here for Game Boy colors. Let me see here. Is it? Yes! With the Game Boy being clear, that's actually more for the Game Boy Color. Because I'm actually just seeing this thing on Google. Let's see, Game Boy Gray. Yeah, that either is just the... Yeah, that's probably just like the standard Game Boy. Let's see, was it really the Game Boy Color? Excuse me. Oh no, it's the Game Boy Pocket. Game Boy Pocket, that is my mistake. Oh, my mistake. I think that actually could actually be like the Game Boy Color. Nope. No, I am thinking of something wrong. Oh no, yep. Yeah, that's just the Game Boy. If for OG stuff, it's just either the Game Boy Color that can actually be... Yeah, with the Game Boy Color, there's like a limited edition Pokemon one. Yep. And then, yeah. Gray Game Boy Color, pretty much. And there was like a commemorative Game Boy Color that was also great for Pokemon. To celebrate Pokemon Gen 2 coming out, because, again, when it came out, Pokemon is still like gangbusters. And, like a gang, it pretty much just ganged and up and curb stomped the competition from Sega. You have to at least give Sega some props for trying, at the very least. Even though the results were clear-cut in the end. And, well, when it comes to competition for a handheld... Well, Nintendo's pretty much the king when it comes to that, because Sony also tried their damnedest to do that as well with the PSP. PSP sold also just as fine too, but yeah. With the Nintendo DS coming out with, again, Pokemon and Mario being the 1-2 heavy hitters, you can't really argue with results. Oh right, I almost forgot with the Game Boy. Aside from Mario and Zelda and Kirby as well, and also the occasional third-party support, there was also, if I'm trying to at least remember it well, The Legend of Zelda. Yeah, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Really good Game Boy game, I gotta be honest. If I'm not mistaken, I think I played through a good chunk of that game when it came out on the 3DS. Really good game, I'll be quite honest. And then with the Game Boy Color, The Legend of Link's Awakening actually got a port, which was called The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening DX, where it actually had a good chunk of color, and actually had its own unique dungeon for the Game Boy Color, which used color because of that. Nope. I'd need Iceman's power-up to at least get across this, or something, like a platform, to at least help me get to that stuff up there, but yeah. Ow. And then from there with the Game Boy consoles, it was just the Game Boy Color, which I've talked about before, and the Game Boy Advance, which was actually my first console. Oh! With the Game Boy Advance, the same thing applies. I mean, it had the full-on color as it revolutionized the whole color thing, but with no backlights, sadly. It was set up until the SP, where you actually had color, flat-out color. It could fold and close like a nice little clamshell, which made playing games a lot safer, if I'll be quite honest. Oh, there we go. Go. With this fire, you have to at least time your jumps or your movements just right to not get hit by the fire. But with the Game Boy Advance, I hold some nostalgic memories with it. You never forget your first, like you do with your Game Boy, Christopher Jones. You never forget. Because, I'll be quite honest, I loved the advertising for the Game Boy Advance as well, because for the Game Boy, at the time, Sega was the new hot kid in town, and the Genesis was really making Nintendo shiver in their boots for competition. Because beforehand, no one really had the oomph to step up to Nintendo to give them a good, fair game. Had a no cheekery. Game Boy, yeah, I had that too. It was pretty. Well, I didn't really have a Game Boy Color. No. But I had some fun. I had some fun times with my GBA games and what have you. With Fireman, he basically fights the exact same. Runs, he doesn't really jump, but he runs and shoots fire. Ow. I also had a 3D. I also have a 3DS as well. Good times with the 3DS. With the advertising for the Game Boy, it was basically done as a reply to Sega's Play It Loud Genesis era, like Genesis does with Nintendo, basically. Where Nintendo just did the whole Play It Loud thing, and with the colors with Game Boy and Game Boy Color, they basically just made it look hip and extreme, but this was in the 90s, so yeah, it's gonna be kind of obvious, where it's gonna be cringe and doesn't really age the best. Like, Play It Loud, and then you just have people with different colored mohawks and what have you. And with the Game Boy Advance, with its advertisements, I feel it's the best actual way that Nintendo could actually do something like this. Because it's not entirely cringe, but it does get the attention for people to at least be interested within the game. Okay, I already did these two, so it's between Cutman and Iceman. And Cutman it is. Alright. And that'll be... Oh, wait, hold on. Just gotta check on, fix something up here. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to at least fix something up, but yeah, I would not doubt you for having Tekken 3 on the SP, because on the Game Boy Advance, not only was Tekken there, but Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter as well. So the Game Boy was not the only console that actually had those games. And it actually had 2 Street Fighter games on the Game Boy Advance as well. If I'm not mistaken, there was Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the Game Boy Advance, and a variation of Street Fighter 2, maybe Street Fighter 2 Super Fighters or something like that. It was literally just some iteration of Street Fighter 2. Like one of the many iterations of Street Fighter 2. Like Super Street Fighter 2, Hyper Champions, blah 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 blah. But then there was Street Fighter Alpha 3, and then there was Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy Advance, a couple entries I think. And then there's the aspect of Tekken on the Game Boy Advance, so yeah, I'm not really surprised about it being there. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was big on the Game Boy Advance because, well, at the time the anime came out and the Game Boy Advance was there, so, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for that console to be there outright. I wouldn't be surprised if it was there and it ran just as rampant as Pokemon did on the Game Boy Advance. If I'm not mistaken, there's actually a Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection that you could actually play for old Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. I think there were some in the Game Boy Color, maybe some in the Game Boy Advance, particularly. because it was there in the heyday for Yu-Gi-Oh! And if I'm not mistaken, the card game was done first, then the anime, basically. I think. Like, I have a good feeling that was the case. Ow. I wonder if he got anything special, because I've been yapping about... Okay, no. Do. With Cutman Stage, you have to at least deal with the conveyor belts. Something you didn't really deal with Cutman Stage in the OG release of 1, but it makes it its own little thing. Not entirely a copy-paste, but you can at least see its own... You can at least see, obviously, this is Cutman's thing, but it's not really a literal copy-paste of the OG game. Oh boy. Oh! Seriously, it's been the first time I've actually seen within all 3 of the stages where I actually get health. Man. Ow. Yeah, with this stream I do plan to at least beat the entirety of the first Game Boy game, because it's essentially just 8 Robot Masters, then just deal with Wily shenanigans. Like with future entries, yeah, I'll probably split this up with maybe like 2 to 3 part stops, because for some reason I'm not at least that good at least reversing things, or just getting through with the stages. Not good with Rockman Revamp. I really thought I'd be having to deal with more parts, or at least make more parts with Rockman Revamp, but no. I mean, the only exception was just Mega Man 2, because, again, with 2, where they actually had the 1-2-hit combo of the boss with the Wily Castle, that you actually have to use the Crash Bomb on and nothing else, which was annoying. Ow. But everything else has just been like, maybe like 1 to 2 parts tops, at the very least. Well, sorry, not really 1 to 2 parts at the very least, because the only other game I've beaten in 1 part was just Mega Man 1. And I was more shocked I was able to get that far within doing so. Granted, I did do revert. Granted, I did put the game in reverse at times, but I'm more shocked I'm able to at least get that good progress at the very least. Ow. Also, with the Game Boy Color, Mega Man X also made its debut on the Game Boy Color. 2 games. 2 Game Boy Color games for Mega Man X. 2. But they were there regardless. But you may be asking, why not more Mega Man X games on the Game Boy Color? Well, with the Game Boy Color, by the time the Game Boy Color was hitting its stride, the Game Boy Advance was on its way. But besides me yapping about nostalgia and what have you, and facts about game consoles, how is chat doing today? How is everyone doing in chat today? Like, that's just a standard thing I usually like to do. Just say, hi, how is chat doing? Because, you know, it's not always about me, you know, with these streams, you know. I like the chat interactions. I like having these interactions because I can at least have something to bounce off of and just say nice, neat little fun facts about games and what have you. Ow. Please tell me that was a checkpoint. Yes! Ow. Finally, at least got me a checkpoint. Thank goodness. But yeah, I like to at least talk with chat, you know. Make some good chat interactions, you know? Makes things a little lively. I mean, sure, sometimes there will be moments where there is no chat, but I like when chat comes. I like when chat comes and we can at least have like a nice little conversation. That way I could at least yap on about game entries and then say like some nice, neat, fun facts that most people didn't really know about. Oh! Ow! Also, when it comes to Sonic, he made his debut with the Game Boy Advance with Sonic Advance. But the reason why Sonic was on a Nintendo console instead of Sega, well, Sega basically bombed and basically just got axed in the console wars. But they exist as a third-party developer for games. Also, if anyone likes F-Zero, Nintendo and Sega collabed and made an F-Zero game. F-Zero GX on the GameCube, if I'm not mistaken. Sadly, it's the only game that Nintendo and Sega actually collabed on that wasn't, you know, the Olympics, like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Shame, honestly. Maybe someday we could actually have them collab again. Ow. Oh no, definitely, yeah. They remain a very reliable and sturdy third-party developer. Like, Sega makes... Like, it's not only Sonic that Sega makes that brings them the most money. Persona actually gives them the most money. Like, it's Persona and... Let's see here. Persona and Yakuza, basically. Oh, I can tell you were a Genesis kid. You were definitely the Genesis kid on the playground. I can flat out tell you right now, I have not known you as a kid, but I at least known you as a Facebook friend, but I know for a fact, based on your statement, you were a Genesis kid. You were flat out the Genesis kid. Like, yeah, you did play Game Boy games, but you were more of a Genesis Sega lad. Like, you are knee-deep within the ride, and you were just ride or die with the Genesis does what Nintendo don't craze. Virtual Fighters game still left to? Yeah, it is. The one Sega port I actually want to keep I'm keeping myself with a good sharp eye on is Crazy Taxi. I've never played Crazy Taxi, but it does look fun. Like, Crazy Taxi has the premise of you go and pick up taxi riders and then drop them off. Seems standard and mundane, right? Nope, with the Sega charm, Crazy Taxi is chaos. Like a literal hotbed of chaos, like the literal goddess of chaos, or an avatar of chaos, basically just made a taxi game. Because with Crazy Taxi, you do drop off taxi riders, and you do have to do it within a specific amount of time. But you can just drive as recklessly as possible. Just as long as you get them there, they don't care. As long as you get them there within a specific amount of time, you can actually just be successful with dropping off your taxi rider. Taxi rider, essentially. Oh, come on, just jump a little higher, will you? There's NES, but sure. Also, my problem, I didn't to Saturn back in the day. Yeah, Sega Saturn was also pretty big, too. Oh, now you jump? Oh, come on with this. Thank you. Now we can at least get past here and maybe a checkpoint. Whoa. Yeah, with the Saturn, yeah, Sega was firing on all cylinders with game making. It's a thing with the Dreamcast. That's when things went kaput. Went to shit for Sega. Because with Sega, they did a shadow release. A shadow release is when a game company just says, here's this new game. It's out now. And when they mean out now, they mean literally by the time they're done saying their sentence, the game is fully finished and is out now. Nintendo's done this in the past with the remake of Metroid Prime 1 on the Switch. Like, it was a direct, I remember it being a direct, and then Nintendo just flat out said, Metroid Prime 1 is now out now. you could just flat out just go to the game store and just pick up a physical copy of Metroid Prime 1. Or just go to the eShop and just immediately download Metroid Prime 1. But back with Sega and how they didn't really shoot themselves in the foot, or shoot themselves in the foot. More so, they shot themselves in the foot with a shotgun, sawed off their own feet, and then proceeded to eat their own feet. And then became befuddled, or schmuckledorfed, as to why no one is taking them seriously as a game developer. With the Dreamcast, it was a shadow release. That's great. That's a good surprise. But they forgot the part to supply stores with consoles. Yeah, like big heavy stores like Toys R Us back in its heyday. They did not have enough Dreamcast systems to help with Sega's rampant, impulsive decision to make their new console a shadow drop. So not only that, but also the console wasn't really on the cheap side of things. And that's when Sony decided in their madcap glory, with the head honcho at the time for Sony just flat out walked up, grabbed the mic and said, $2.99. Then walked right off to a uproaring applause from the audience. And Sony, that was when they had made the PS1. So with that, Sega basically just got killed by their own befuddling, dim-witted decisions. And it's not only with the Dreamcast, it's also with Sega of America and Sega of Japan being at odds with each other. You know how when people say there's Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Japan? Yeah, Sega of Japan and Sega of America don't really see eye to eye too much. Think less Odd Couple and more really bickering at odds with each other, like actual arguing at odds with each other. So it's because of that, and with the Dreamcast dim-witted dipshittery, the Sega basically got done and dealt with, KO'd, Mortal Kombat fatality'd, barbecued, roasted, spit-roasted, charcoaled, and bread like fine barbecue, and the console wars. And because of that, Sony decided to at least be the new big kid in town. Yeah, and so that's why Sega became a third-party console developer. Last but not least is Iceman, and there is no wheel because there's only Rum Boss left to tackle, so no. Do I get anything? Nope, just the Cinder 3. Oof, yeah, Chuck Norris. Yeah, I could at least say... Yeah, that's a good comparison to say with Sega. Yeah, they Chuck Norris them. They got Chuck Norris, basically. So yeah, with the console wars that Sega started, they started the console wars, they damn well finished the console wars. They were just dead in the water. As a console maker. As a game maker, hell no. Hell no. Sure, their days of making consoles are over, but that doesn't mean their days of making games was. Because the simple fact with heavy hitters within the Sonic franchise, Yakuza, Persona, and maybe like Super Monkey Ball, helped Sega to at least stay afloat and become still a prominent third-party developer. So, like, let's say if you had, like, Sonic Mania, which was going to, like, PS3 or something, then, yeah, you could at least count on that to help sell units and to help sell consoles, because people would want that new Sonic game for consoles, regardless of quality. Last but not least was Iceman. The unique gimmick for Iceman, as we saw within Before He Died, was the ice blocks. Ice blocks do stand as territory that you can stand on, and without the obvious ice physics being slippery, but after a due time, they will melt. In due time, those platforms will actually melt, because they're ice blocks, and so you need to keep your footing. So, like, let's say there's some extra life down there with the ice blocks, just be careful with doing so. And obviously, since this is the ice stage, there will be ice physics, where your traction will become worse. It'll take time for you to stop on a dime, then say standard regular grounding, essentially. Whoa. Ow. Also, oh yeah, the icicles, too. The icicles also serve as a extra footing for a platform as well. They will hurt, because with the icicles that come down from the ceiling, just be sure not to get in the way. Just like that. With the icicles, it does actually serve its own platforming puzzle, basically. Because as you saw, the moment more icicles come, I can't really do much with that. But with some clever platforming, I could at least jump onto the second icicle, and then from there, get myself out, and then proceed on. Just be careful with the icicles, because they will just hurt. Outright. Oh, ow. Ow. With Capcom themselves, they don't really make consoles, obviously, but they are a good third-party developer. I mean, obviously there's Mega Man, which is a good household name. Obviously there's Street Fighter, and then there's stuff like, oh, I don't know, something like Resident Evil that's also helping to push units. And if I'm not mistaken, they did make their own new IP called Pragmata, which is doing numbers on Steam and respective consoles. Because it's like the average dad platformer where it's a nice subversion of it, where it's not angry, grumpy dad that you're controlling, but more a calm, chill vibes dad and a little robotic AI daughter that you're controlling, basically. Last but not least is Iceman. With the other Robot Masters, you don't really have to worry about changing up your strategies. It's just they fight the exact same as they would within their NES counterparts. Like Cutman runs around, jumps, and throws his rolling cutter. Iceman just runs around, jumps, and shoots his ice slasher. Fireman, same thing. Electman, also the same thing. Lather, rinse, repeat. Also, I'm more surprised that the Buster is actually doing damage. Like, I have flat up been yapping, like, yapping, like, non-stop, and I've been able to do, like, masterful work on the Robot Masters with just the Buster. So, with that, we actually get our final Robot Master weapon, for now, the Ice Slasher. And Carry. Carry is just a platform. It is flat out just a regular standing platform. Maybe I could... Oh, no, I can't. Okay, yeah, once all 4 Robot Master stages are done, you just go beat Wily. Go to Wily. And now we are within Wily's castle. So it's just endgame from there. You might be asking, oh, why is it so short? I mean, with the Game Boy, it's more destined to be a portable road trip gaming console. I'm sure you can play it at home, but most of the time, people will just be playing the Game Boy on the go. It's a on-the-go console. With Carry, boom, platform. But I want that extra life, so... With Carry, you can summon the platform underneath you. Just like what I did earlier, just now. Yep. So that's your standard support ability. So I just wanted to at least show off what Carry does. With each of the Robot Master weapons, they basically function the exact same way as they did with the NES counterparts. Oh, Wily, yeah, you never change, Wily. Ow! And here's the return of these moles, basically. They're the same way, they behave the same way as they did within Mega Man 2. Where many of them come out, they pop out, and it's a good chance for you to grind. For weapon energy, health energy, maybe an extra life, maybe if you're lucky. But most of the time, it's just gonna be health and weapon ammo pickup. Whoa! Wait a minute. I'm gonna carry. There we go, that's better. Whoa. Ow. Oh, thank God this is not OG1, because I could at least take damage beyond the spikes, and then just quickly jump to the next room, and not have to worry about dying. Ow. Okay, seriously, that's the second time I actually saw a health pickup from an enemy all game. Maybe like the second or the third time, but man, the health pickups are really sparse. You know what? No, I'm not gonna reverse as much. Just take my L's and get a move on. Also, I got to a checkpoint, which is good. Thank goodness I picked up that extra life at the start of the stage. Ow. As with Mega Man as a whole for classic Mega Man, there have actually been, what, 2 comic book runs for Mega Man so far? One is the Archie comics, which actually did the Sonic comics for the longest while, but got canned because of intervention by Sega, which is in itself its own can of worms. And with Mega Man, they actually did do some of the games. They did Mega Man 1 to 3, and they also did a Japanese-only release game called Super Adventure Rockman. Oh, come on with this. Hold on. Okay, I can't really do this whole thing without using a weapon. I'm sorry, I know this is basically just breaking my own rules, but I do have to use the Elect Beam. The reason why is if I don't use the Elect Beam, that thing will just keep popping out with enemies, it'll just mess up my flow of trying to use carry, and it's really just gonna mess everything up badly. So I did have to at least break the rule just once, just a teeny bit, just for the sake of progression. And that's how good the Elect Beam is, because it doesn't really eat up that much of ammo, and it really just helps with making a whole good chunk of damage. Oh! Oh boy, okay. Just give me some health, please. I'd really love and appreciate that. Ow. Okay, at least got some health. I would have appreciated the bigger health pickup, but okay. Beggars can't be choosers, sadly. But the Play It Loud era, yeah, it was kind of cringe. It was cringe, but it was a funny kind of cringe, where it was your dad or your mom trying to be cool and hip with you, or whatever. In the aspect of, hey, what's up, and all that razzmatazz or whatever. Also, with the Play It Loud era, since this was the 90s, they basically amped up on a bit of the gross out. Like the Yoshi's Island commercial is a good example of that, because it just portrayed a guy, a very fat guy actually. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say much about the commercial. I want you, chat, right now to look up the Yoshi's Island commercial, like Yoshi's Island SNES commercial. I want chat to look up that commercial. I want all of you to look up that commercial. Right there, right now. Oh. Ah, that was not good. Oh, come on here. Because I really do want the extra life. There we go, that's better. Pause. Yes. Pause. Yes. Oh, and here comes our other 8-batch of Robot Masters, too. Oh, and here comes the wheel again. Oh, and here comes our favorite friend, the wheel, who decides to move when only it wants to move. Seriously, what's up with the wheel being so hard to control tonight? Thank you. Thank you, wheel. Thank you, wheel. Thank you. Okay. Now we actually have another batch of 4 Robot Masters. But hark, we only had 6 Robot Masters within 1, and 4 and 8 within Mega Man 2. Well, that's up for the wheel to decide of who will be fighting. Top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. Okay, top right. Don't know why the wheel's playing itself backwards. Yeah, I'm not gonna really argue with the wheel. I mean, for some reason it's being backwards, but at the very least, I mean, top right it is. So let's look and see what we got. And here comes Bubble Man. So, within Wily's Revenge, you'll be finding 4 Robot Masters from 1, which is a good majority of them because 6, and more than 3, it's just more than majority of them. Sans Guts and Bomb Man. And Mega Man 2, you'll be fighting 4 Robot Masters, which means half of them. Saw the commercial, what the heck did I just witness? Yeah, that was the Yoshi's Island SNES commercial. That was Nintendo and their Plant Loud era. Because, again, Yoshi's Island is a comfy Yoshi game. The commercial is anything but comfy Yoshi's Island Babby game. Yeah, flat out. Oh, no. Oh, brother. Yep. It moved units, that's for sure. I mean, the gameplay for Yoshi's Island is good. The music is great. The gameplay looks and feels good, like a nice storybook or whatever. Pretty sure the commercial also helped push units, too. With Bubble Man, he also fights and behaves the same exact way, but this time with Bubble Man, it's like fighting in Bubble Man within his rematch, because you don't really have the spikes on the top of the ceiling. But you do have water physics. You have water physics, the only time in the game where you have water physics, because with Bubble Man, you find him underwater, and you just go with higher jumps, basically. And with each of these Robot Masters, you'll be getting their weapons as well. So with Bubble Man, you get the Bubble Lead. Alright, well, let's do this thing. Okay, bottom left. Okay. Alright, let's do this thing. Flashman! Flashman works the exact same way as you would in Mega Man 2, OG. Runs around, jumps, Flash Stomper. Runs around, jumps, Flash Stomper, barrage of bullets. But it's more of his refight for Flashman, because with an OG for Flashman, if you were to fight him within the stage, he actually does have terrain advantage, because his terrain within the stage is just more uneven terrain that he could just repeatedly jump on all around and here and there, what have you. But with the refight, no, not the case for that one. I mean, you can actually dodge the bullets, Flashman, but it's easier said than done. Because they splatter and scatter everywhere that they can. Oh boy. And sadly, within Mega Man 1, you don't really get the added benefit of an E-Tank, so you'd have to at least fight them as is. Let's see, let me just get carry again. Ow. Don't care, I got me 4 lives, which helps me out with the Wily stage and getting to the Robot Master refights. Robot Master fights. So since I gamed over, I don't really keep the weapons from Bomb Man anymore. Bubble Man anymore. And we will just keep the wheel out of it up until we go again. I mean, I would try to reverse, but I mean, I was pretty much low on health, low on lives, and by the time, even if I were to be good at Flashman, I'd pretty much just game over with the other Robot Master I'd have to deal with anyway. Also, if you think that's gross, oh, brother, you gotta see the Booger Man commercial. Oh, brother. Oh, the 90s were something else for games and advertising for games. Because I'm not sure if anyone's seen this or heard about it, basically, but with Earthbound, a game I love near and dear to my heart, which is one of my favorite RPGs, had one of the worst advertising campaigns within a video game. Because of Earthbound's quirkiness and the 90s, Nintendo decided that, yeah, let's at least make the game because this game stinks. And within the 90s, because saying something stinks is outright just as bad as saying something sucks, or to the young kids saying something is mid. It's a death sentence for advertising, so Nintendo saying their game stinks just tells people not to buy their game because the game sucks. Not the smartest moment, because they were trying to mimic the whole play it loud thing that Sega was doing, so not really helping in that case for Earthbound. But aside from saying this game stinks for Earthbound, it did also have the whole with the strategy guide and also adding scratch and sniff stickers. Oh, ow. Come, ow. On. So, with Yoshi's Island, do you think that's gross? Well, I mean, it is gross. But check out Booger Man. Check out the Booger Man commercial. I dare you, I triple dog dare you all in chat to look up and to watch the Booger Man commercial. Flat out, go watch the Booger Man commercial, but have my stuff play in the background. And let me know how you experienced the Booger Man commercial. Doing this again, because I need to get across. Oh boy. And this is where Carrie comes in to help with the clutch. Ow. Ow. Doesn't really help, but oh, whatever. Oh boy. Words can get kind of annoying, but let's just get them done with. Ow. Ugh. Also, when it comes to weaknesses for the Robot Masters from Mega Man 1 that we had to at least deal with, their weaknesses are basically rotated and changed for a couple of them. For, say, Cutman and Electman, their weaknesses stayed the same. But with Iceman and Fireman, that's when they do have to at least maneuver around and change some things. I think Iceman is... Oh, my mistake. Iceman is still weak to... Yeah, Iceman is still weak to Electman and what have you. But it's Fireman who is now weak to the Iceman. Wait, what? What am I saying? Fireman's always been weak to Iceman. What am I saying? What am I saying? But I think Cutman had his weakness changed up? Because, you know, no guts, man. Oh, come on here. Let me get across here. But, yeah. How is chat doing today? Just want to at least check in and see how chat is doing today. I know I said this, like, earlier within the stream, but it bears repeating. Just at least a checkup, you know? How's everyone doing? Because, again, it's equal parts me and equal parts the chat. That makes this whole thing worthwhile. No. Because I really need that extra life to deal with the Robot Masters. Thank you. Okay, Wheel's back. Chat is good. Yeah, I'm happy to hear. Happy to hear about that. Just wanted to at least double check and ask, you know? Doesn't hurt to ask. Is there a way I can repeat this around? Because the way I've had the wheel is looking, it's pretty much just looking the exact opposite, like just inverted. Guess not. Alright, let's spin that wheel. Okay. Top left. Okay, top left it is. And top left has his deal with Quickman. Oh, beep beep. And it's just dealing the exact same way with Quickman. He is very quick, man. Basically, he just jumps around and shoots the quick boomerang, barrages into, all that fun stuff. You don't really have to deal with Quickman stage, you just have to deal with the boss himself. Oh. Oh boy. Oh. If I don't really get done with Quickman, I'll at least try to use the wheel a different way. Like, it's not that I don't want to deal with Quickman, it's more so the aspect of, wow, this is gonna be eating up my lives. And mind you, I'm going with the full bar of health. Ow, and he's doing more damage to me than I am to him. Oh boy. Wait a minute. Quickman and his jumps. Duh, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing, you bloody buffoon? Ah! Oh! Oh boy. Oh! Guess if I could at least do that... Yeah, just mind Quickman's jumps. What am I doing? It's dumb sometimes. Ah! Ugh. Ah, come on, Quickman. Stop being stubborn and just die already. Okay, now I see with Quickman. Just mind his jumps and then just, yeah. Okay, then. You know, I want to at least try to do Quickman the fair and square way again. Like, I know I already beat Quickman, but I want to at least try to do Quickman the fair and square way. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Thankfully, you really don't have to deal with the Quickman stage of insta-death lasers everywhere. So, there is that at the very least has a good point. You just have to deal with Quickman himself. Gotcha! Just be sure to get your health pickup before the victory music ends. Because the moment that you do actually sit your foot within the teleportation pad and the victory music ends, well, you won't really get your health pickup now, will you? Okay, wheel time. Top right it is. Alright, Bulba Man, let's make you our next victim. With the Robot Masters from 2, they fight the exact same way as they would within their refights. Just a big old arena, and they fight the exact same with their patterns. Bulba Man just hops up, shoots bubbles, maybe a little shot here and there. Quickman just barrages really quickly, rams into you, occasionally shoots his quick boomerangs. Quickman, Flashman, sorry, jumps up, runs towards you, and does the flash stopper, and obvious barrage of bullets. Oh, thank goodness. Two. Johnny thought I could at least make the whole thing, you know, not, opposites. Okay, I already did that, so no. So it's either the bottom left or the bottom right. Top left is done already. Top left is done already, so spin again. Bottom left. Whoa. Thank goodness I have 2 lives left to at least tackle on Flashman and the final one from 2. Oh! Ow! Whoa, okay. Thank goodness I dodged that in time. Whoa, boy. Whew. Alright. Oh. And say bye-bye to the wheel for this stream, because we're already done with the whole Robot Master thing. And we got the Flash Stopper. So, with that done, let's at least tackle on the last one. Heatman. Heatman functions the exact same way. Shoot him regardless if it's his weakness or not with the Buster. Then he charges towards you. If not, he just shoots 3 individual flames. Where it's actually much easier if you just keep shooting Heatman instead of letting him shoot. And just a pattern of shoot, dodge, jump, out. Out. At least I have, like, another life to tackle and take care of things. Whoa, out. Ow! Oh boy. Oh, come on, and I still get hit. No. Oh boy. Wait for it. And I mean by wait for it, I mean by wait for Heatman to do his thing. Ah. Ow. Oh, ow. Okay. Just one more time, and then we'll be done with Heatman. Oh, thank goodness. Oh. Yeah, you got it to be in a specific spot for that one. Did not realize that. And Atomic Fire behaves the exact same way as it would with the regular standard from OG2. All the weapons except... basically every weapon in the entire game, the 4 from 1 and the 4 from 2, behave the exact same way. So there's that, and we actually have a hidden boss. What's that? Ooh, Enker! Enker is our special boss for the Game Boy games. Where Enker is a part of a trio of specific robots designed to destroy Mega Man. Where they're called the Rockman Killers in Japan, or in America they're known as the Mega Man Hunters. Ow. Oh, come on here, Anchor, at least. Behave. Ow. Oh boy. Too close. Oh, crap. The only way you can actually shoot Anchor is when he raises his Lancer up. If he stands on, if he dashes towards you, then he is invincible, basically. His weapon that he uses, the Lancer, is called the Mirror Buster, which we'll be getting in just a second. And the Mirror Buster works in the way that it has a little projectile, a little tiny shield come out in front of you. And the moment a projectile comes towards... Oh. And we actually are not done with the game. What the hell? I didn't even see that one coming. But yes, we're actually within the final stage of the game. Because this fact, well, Wily now has a space fortress. Yeah, this is the first time Wily is actually going into space. But yes, with Anchor, he's part of a group. He's essentially a special robot designed specifically to destroy Mega Man. In Japan, they're known as Rockman killers, or in America, they're known as Mega Man hunters. So, with Anchor, he runs around and jumps, and he raises up his lance. Or his spear, whatever. And when he does, that's your cue to shoot him. Because any other time, Anchor is invincible. And it can be proven to be quite the pain to tackle down Anchor if you don't do that. And with this weapon, it's called the Mirror Buster, where it has a little tiny shield stand in front of you, and projectiles that come at the mirror shield, at the Mirror Buster, will just reflect right on back to sender, basically. And that's essentially what Anchor's weapon does. Like, the more times that you shoot at Anchor, yes, he'll get damaged, but at the same time, the larger and more powerful his Mirror Buster shot will be. It doesn't really work the exact same way as if you were to use the Mirror Buster yourself, but it works in the same-ish way where it'll just reflect projectiles. Oh. You know, I really shouldn't at least, you know, I just take it back with the whole, it works the exact same way, it works in a different way. Because the Mirror Buster reflects projectiles, Anchor's is more of a, the more that you shoot at it, the more powerful the shots will be, basically. So now we're in the final stage in Wily's new space fortress. Ow. Okay, let's at least re-begin within the final stage of the game. So now with all of the Robot Masters and Anchor dealt with, we have to at least take the fight to Wily again. Yeah. There we go. Do-do-do. And with this is how the ice blocks actually melt. In due time, the more time that you stand on them, the more that they'll melt. Come on. There, ow. Is there a way I can at least not take as much damage? No. I know this is breaking my rule, but I do need to get me a move on, and the last thing I need is that little worm platform thing. Spamming more of those and then getting in my way. Whoa. Okay. Do 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 do. Wait for the blocks to come and pop up. Not gonna lie, this set of Yoku blocks, or standard blocks as a whole, really aren't that bad to deal with. They really aren't. Oh, come on here. Ow. Okay, I can tell this is gonna be really, really annoying to deal with. I'm very much sorry, but this really will just kill me outright if I don't do it like this. There. Hopefully that's the last of them. Oh, no, it's not. It's 3 of them. Whew, finally. I can get me a move on with the stage, and not have to deal with massive amounts of damage. Okay, there we go. Now let me just get the carry out, just to be on the safe side. Oh. Oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, I proceed to eat my own words. Okay. Oh, yep. Yeah, the blocks can flat out do that, where you just have one block, and then it just immediately rises up above you, basically. Which can make platforming a lot more difficult, and a lot more annoying to deal with. Which is what these blocks have as their bread and butter. Ow! Ow! Do 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 do. Hey, eat. Ugh. 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 You know, whatever. I'm fine with that. Oh boy. With these cutters right here, you can't really blast them down. They're just flat out invincible stage hazards. Just get rid of that. Great. Maybe some more carry would help. Yeah, carry can help. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Ow. Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Oh! I'm just reverse scumming because I really want to at least get me a move on to at least a checkpoint or just get to Wily. Like, the moment I can get to Wily, I'll be just fine and happy. Ugh. Man, these parts are just as annoying as they were in OG 2. Oh, come on here. Oh, really? Okay, that's good. Okay, with this... Oh. Well, you can't really use Fireman's weapon on it, but you can use Heatman's weapon on it. And Heatman's weapon works in the way that the more that you hold it up, the more power it uses, and the more powerful the shot will be. Only doing this because I want me an extra life, and I know for a fact Wily will be annoying. And with the challenge that I set for myself, extra lives will just pretty much just be a necessary thing for me to get, no matter if I need to use a Robot Master weapon or not. And I feel like this can be a good pathway. So let's just use Heatman's weapon again. Get ourselves down. Okay, I'm up and pick up energy. Not gonna argue against that. Let's see here. Like man. This man. There we go. Oh boy. Whoa. Whew. Oh. Huh. So there really was that much of a difference now, was there? Generally thought there was. Oh, that's gonna be really, really annoying for me to deal, isn't it? Ow! Oh, that's fun. Ow! Don't care, we're going where we are still going right now. Ow. Please tell me I reached a checkpoint. Okay, it's that checkpoint with the extra life. Okay, then that helps. Get me up. Ugh. With carry, the platform will be automatically summoned below you. So just to make sure that you jump right, so just make sure that you angle yourself just right with the jump, and with summoning and using carry. So that way the platform will actually be more of a benefit and less of a hindrance. With these games, they actually were on the 3DS Virtual Console. Because that was actually the very first way you could actually play these games without having to pay an arm and a leg online on eBay to play them on the Game Boy, or having to use an emulator. So before they came to the Switch NSO, they actually were on the 3DS Virtual Console, where you can actually play and buy all 5 of the games. But you don't really have the fancy color options as you would with the NSO. They were mostly played within the Game Boy Pocket way of being graphic style, as in they're all just black and white. Oh, thank God, an extra life. Thank you, game. So merciful. And here comes our first Wily machine. Ow. Where it actually is just a giant Wily robot. Just shoot the chin and avoid these little guys as they keep on being spawned out of Wily's machine. Some of them either go towards you, because some of them go in a ellipse. Something like that. Da-dum, da-dum. The only annoying thing is just the trajectory of when they're being spawned makes it a little chaotic and quite annoying to deal with. Ow. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna have to at least cheat. I don't like doing this, but I have no choice. Wily, you have left me zero choice in the matter. Okay, what would be his weakness? I'm thinking Elec Beam. I'm sorry, I got to cheat. Okay, that's not it. Maybe the Firestorm. Yep, Firestorm be the way to go. Well, not really the way to go. Let's see. No, no, no. Not Heatman. Maybe the Quick Boomerang. Okay, not really. I mean, it's doing as much damage as it would be with my regular Buster. Maybe Cutman's weapon. Maybe the Rolling Cutter. See, that's the beauty of playing Mega Man games, essentially. It's a nice game of trial and error, and experimentation. It forces you to at least see what works and what doesn't work. Maybe Iceman's weapon can work for this first phase of the Wily machine. No. No, it does not. But maybe... Let's see. Bubbleman's weapon, maybe? Okay, it does work, but not as much as I want it to. But maybe Fireman's shield that you use from using the Firestorm could do some damage, and yes, it does do some nice beefy damage. It's just, I am not at full health. Which sucks, but sucks to suck, I guess. But yeah, it's more the shield from Fireman that's good against old Wily here and his new Wily machine. There we go. And now for, I believe, this boss, you do need to use Anchor's weapon, I think. Doo-doo. Yep, you need to use Anchor's weapon to actually have a chance of beating old Dr. W here. So Anchor's weapon is labeled EN for Anchor. This is the Mirror Buster. It has a nice little shield right in front of you. And then from there, what you need to do, that little projectile thing will actually shoot a projectile. So that little thing will shoot a projectile. So from there, all you have to do is just guide the projectile. Is just guide the mirror buster, and have it deflect the shots. Because that is the only way you can actually damage the boss. So again, unless if vitally necessary. Ow. Unless if crucially necessary, I will use the buster only. And that was Mega Man 1 on the Game Boy. Short little fun-packed adventure for 8 Robot Masters to deal with because, since it's the first game post Mega Man 2, it adapts the format of 8 Robot Masters to deal with and then Wily antics to deal with. But it has its own twist of merging 2 games and then half of its Robot Masters for you to deal with, instead of using all of one game's Robot Masters to adapt and to use. So it is actually pretty good in the aspect of it has you think of different strategies to deal with Robot Masters, instead of thinking, oh, all of these came from Mega Man 2, so it's just adapt my brain to Mega Man 2. No, you have to adapt your brain to Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2. And I do like of how it throws the subversion off of you going to Wily's stage, you're thinking there's going to be 4 stages, but no, it's actually one big stage with the second half of Robot Masters plus Anchor to deal with, and then it's Wily fleeing away to his first giant space fortress, to which you actually have to deal with the actual final stage, which is the stage itself and Wily's machine phases 1 and 2. And as a whole, I feel Mega Man 1 on the Game Boy is fine. It does have its moments of difficulty. It really isn't an easy game, but that's the beauty of it. It doesn't really... It kind of at least adapts the difficulty of Mega Man 1 as a whole. Oh, not really Mega Man 1, but just Mega Man as a whole, basically, in a more general sense of things. Because Mega Man is really just known for its challenge, the Robot Masters, its designs for each Robot Masters, and the characters as a whole. But I feel the challenge of each game, sans a few games entries, are its bread and butter, basically. And with the credits, after you beat Wily, his new space fortress blows up, and Mega Man goes home and goes right back to Earth on a space shuttle. And each of the enemies have already been displayed, so now it's the Robot Masters that get their turn to at least be displayed. So now we have Cutman, Electman, Iceman, and then there's Fireman, so that's at least half of Mega Man 1, and now we'll be seeing our second half, literally, from 2. So now we have the first of Wily's new Robot Masters that were made by him. So now we have Bubble Man, Heat Man, Quick Man, and last but not... Well, not really last but not least, there's also Flash Man, the last from Mega Man 2. And finally we have Anchor. And we have a triumphant Mega Man happily looking towards the Earth, as he saved the world once again from Wily's antics and his third plan for world domination, because there's Mega Man 1, 2, and now with the Wily's Revenge. Thank you for playing, presented by Capcom. And that was Mega Man 1, Dr. Wily's Revenge on the Game Boy. I did reverse a few times, but yeah, I know I did actually have to at least use Robot Master weapons, but yeah, with Dr. Wily, with his final machine form, you do have to use the Mirror Buster. It's mandatory. So don't really go high, balls to the walls, reckless and outright abusing the Mirror Buster all throughout the Wily stage, because you do have to have enough weapon energy to actually have a chance of beating the second Wily machine form, because that's the only way to actually beat it. And so I would actually call it stream here, but there is actually one last little game I want Please to play for maybe just a little bit. And I'll see you when I get back there.
Kirby's Avalanche.
Welcome to the basically just the little dessert portion of our stream. Kirby's Avalanche. Kirby's Avalanche. Kirby's Avalanche. Kirby's
Avalanche.
What they said. This game wasn't really an original game because within Japan there's a series called Puyo Puyo that was actually more made by Sega. And so within America, there's actually like alterations to Puyo Puyo, and Kirby's Avalanche is one of them. And the other variation to that is another Sega game made for the Genesis called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. The point of Puyo Puyo is to match beans, or little jellies or blobs as I call them, and to make sure that they match, and to win, you actually not only have to do that, but also have your opponent's side be more overcrowded and filled up. The moment that it overcomes the height of it all or whatever, is the moment that you actually win. Excuse me. So I do want to at least do consists of 3 levels, and stage 1 and stage 4. So this is my first time mostly just doing Puyo Puyo, but I do want to at least do something.
Waddle Dee.
Hi, Little D, are you ready? Can we just walk together? The forest scares me. Sorry, rules are rules. This stage will provide hints, so this is your training stage. So, within Kirby's Avalanche, or Puyo Puyo, you see beans of the same color. You see 2. You see 3. So the moment you have 4 beans, they break off. So if you have 4 more beans that just break off, and if, say I had enough and there was like a red bean that was there, then that way I could actually make a combo. The more that stack up and make the combo, the better it is for you in the long run, for you to actually win your match against your opponent. Do that. No, I just need me another blue, though. Sucks to suck. Good enough. Good enough, but not where I want to land. Whoopsie. There we go. Ah, wow, that was not the smart play I thought it would be. Good thing I'm not trying to go become a Puyo Puyo champ. I'd be left out of the competition. I'd be left out of the arena, the venue. Okay, see with those gray beans over there, that counts as junk. You clear out junk beans by getting better combos to at least get them done. Please have more space for you to work with. So it's because of not having enough space to work with, this Model D here is on the ropes. And just because their Model D is on the ropes does not mean it can actually happen to you, vice versa. Also, when it comes to landing combos like this, don't get so cocky. Don't think you can actually do this so confidently as I would as I was able to do within this stage.
Bronto Bert!
Aha! I found my next victim. Bronto Bert, you bully! The pleasure will be all mine. Shut up and play. So yeah, don't expect getting like super quick combos to be easy for you to do. Or easy for me to do as well, because that was only the tutorial stage. The tutorial stage will just tell you about the basics of Puyo Puyo as a whole. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, don't expect things to get easy for you. Just because you cleared out the tutorial stage does not mean the next stage will be any easier. Nuts. See, with the combo that I made, I was able to clear out a junk bean, so that clears up and gives me space to work with. Perfect. Double combo! Perfect. But not so perfect because the simple fact, well, it does make junk for this Bronto Bert opponent, but not enough to where it's making much of an impact. Ba-da-ba. Do a little of that. Also, fun fact, within... Well, I mean, not really much of a fun fact, everyone knows this. Within Sonic Mania, there is like a Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine reference within the Chemical Plant Zone fight. So instead of fighting a Robotnik machine, it's more of a reference to an old Sega Genesis game. Combo time! Thank goodness there's no time limit for making Avalanche or to clear a stage. That would have been ugh. Da-da-da-da. Mm, 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 mm. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Da da da. Also, it was Kirby's 34th anniversary. Yeah, his 34th anniversary, like a couple days ago. So the moment next year comes and we get news of his 35th anniversary, you can bet your sweetest Bippy I'll pretty much be making more Kirby content. Just as like I would have been doing with Rockman Revamp, I'm thinking about something to at least do with Kirby here for the 35th anniversary. That's not the combo I'm looking for. And just like that, I just got junked myself as well, so don't expect the easy breezy success that you got within stage 1 to actually be of any indicator for the game to get easier. If anything, this game is just training you to actually be good with your combos and not just getting beans to get rid of them. No, you have to be strategic with your beans. Ah, boy. Okay, that's something. Oh no, that's not a something good. It's something, but not good. Oi! Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, come on, game, work with me here. Oh, that's the thing about Puyo Puyo as well. It works on Tetris logic, where the puzzle pieces that you want to get won't really come as easy. And it's gonna be random luck. So RNGesus, take the wheel. And fingers crossed RNGesus is merciful to you. Thank God for rewinds. Oh dear. Oh boy. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Combo time! A little bit, to at least give you some breathing room here. Seriously, I am just happy I'm not trying to be a professional Puyo Puyo player. I got curb stomped by the first opponent I'd see. Also, as time goes on, the beans will actually get a lot faster, as evidence of me taking so long to beat the stage. Whoa! I may not be good at Puyo Puyo, obviously, but I wanted to at least try it out just for the sake of it. Give it the old college trial, dear lord. Oh boy, this ain't good. Okay, at least we got something. And I'll take a something over a nothing any day of the week. Ah, oh boy. Whew. Again, I'm really happy I'm not a Puyo Pro. Or trying to be one. Oh god. Combo, save me! At least give me something. Oh no! Oh dear. Whew. Oh, thank God. I did not plan for that to happen, but sure, I'll take those W's when you can. I don't care if you call me reversing scum lord, I don't care. No bonus, it's whatever.
What'll do?
I don't think so. Oh, shoot. You did not do all of deed with respect. Now I will do what be back in kind. Oh. I don't think so. With Kirby's Avalanche, it also got the treatment of the Play It Loud era for advertising, where they try to make Kirby edgier. Not in a Shadow of the Hedgehog way, but trying to at least make him grittier, a bit tougher for the 90s sake, but in a way that was good for advertising. This was the start of the whole Angry Eye Kirby thing for advertising. It was the start of it, but it wasn't really as prominent as you could at least imagine. Ah, damn it. Maybe there's a way I could try to... Okay, that's a little better. Let's see. No. There we go. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. Oh, Lord. Yeah, that's the whole thing with trying to make combos. You have at least to be mindful and also be quick about doing it as well, because later stages will just demolish you. Like, you can always just clear out to get some junk out of the way, but again, the main point of Puyo Puyo / Kirby's Avalanche / Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is just to make a better combo, overwhelm your opponent, get them overcramped within their space, and then you win. The moment any bean or blob that comes up above a fully wrapped up space, that's when you win. Honestly, not gonna lie, it's a good thing I did not buy myself Puyo Puyo Tetris. I'd be dirt or dog water at that game. Gotcha. Oh boy. Oh no. Yeah, just like that. Mm-mm. Oh boy. Wait, hold on. Oh no. One, two, three. Sadly, no bonus, but it's fine. Congratulations, you're a fast learner. I underestimated your skill. Maybe. Now hurry through the forest and join us at the Dream Fountain for the serious competition. And so that's the easy portion of it. It only consists of 3 stages, but everything else is actually part of the main plotline story. The main plotline for Kirby's Avalanche is that there's a tournament going on. Thankfully, there's no big baddie or MacGuffins to get. It's just a tournament of playing Puyo Puyo against the residents of Dreamland with King DDD being the champion. And you find him at the Fountain of Dreams. Thankfully, no nightmare, so you don't really have to worry about that. Essentially, the stages will get harder and more difficult, obviously, as seen by the training stage arc. So it won't always be so easy to do so. So you have to keep your mind, your wits, and your nerves amongst you, and close to you as well. Just keep them all nice, cool, calm, and collected. Learn from your mistakes, and then strategize the best against each opponent, basically. T-U-V. There we go. Nice, I got the number 3 score. Nice.
Kirby's Avalanche.
So, that was the stream as a whole for Mega Man 1 on the Game Boy. And there is also the simple fact of, well, why not at least do some Kirby's Avalanche, just for the sake of it. So, I've been FODV93, and I shall see you all later. Bye.